Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invests. I do have a mission right now to do a video on every single company that has achieved an operational cash flow positive June quarter. Now, most of these results would have come in because the final trading day of July has come and gone. We'll see a few stragglers released their Appendix 4C or 5B on Monday, the 2nd of August. However, there won't be many of those stragglers. And right now, I have to do 102 more videos from this one. So more than likely, I will do quite a few videos which will feature 4 or 5 companies and do those videos quite quick because there are quite a few companies that were only operational cash flow positive because of government rebates and grants and tax incentives. So I don't want to linger too much on those sort of companies. The company I'll be looking at today, INVION, is sort of similar than those other companies. INVION doesn't have a product to sell. However, they do have a relationship with this group called RMW Cho, and they do get rebates or funding from this RMW Cho to do research on what they do, photodynamic therapy for the treatment of cancer. So this is the sort of company I want to succeed in the future because of what they're doing is going to be beneficial for humanity in the long run. But just because I want this company to succeed doesn't mean I will invest any of my money into them. So let's get into INVION and just look at some facts in regards to this company. INVION listed on the ASX in February 2011. And really the only thing that has happened to this company in the 10 years they've been on the ASX is they've completely diluted shareholders during that period. In fact, the shares on issue have gone from something like 150 million to current shares on issue of $5.5 billion. So even though they have a market cap of around $72 million, the share price is 1.4 cents, simply because of the amount of shares on issue. Revenue trailing 12 months, 2.9 million, and they were operational cash flow positive, mainly because of this agreement with RMW Cho Group. So INVION is a life sciences or a biotech that research and develops photodynamic therapy. Don't ask me what that is, but it's for the treatment of cancers including skin, lung, prostate, and ovarian. They are the exclusive distributor and licensee in Australia and New Zealand of the Photosoft technology by licensor RMW Cho Group. And INVION conducts the clinical development of the Photosoft technology. RMW Cho Group provides non-dilutive financing or funding for INVION to conduct their clinical trials and development. If you do want further information on INVION, they released their Appendix 4C on the 22nd of July. And so they don't have any products they're selling right now. The main reason they are operational cash flow positive is because of the funding or rebates they are getting from RMW Cho Group. Before we look at the June quarter results for INVION, I just want to go back in time and see what was happening in the previous quarter, the March quarter. Receipts and customers for INVION, 264,000. And they did mention that their receipts from quarter to quarter will be dependent on the timing of the money they get from RMW Cho Group. And because receipts and customers was a little bit low for the March quarter, they were burning through cash of $201,000 for the quarter. And by the end of the quarter, they only had $320,000 of cash on hand. And straight away, you can see that the amount of cash they have on hand isn't enough if they continue burning through this amount of cash for the next 2 quarters. And that means they have to answer questions in Section 8 of the Appendix 4C. And Section 8 is all about the ASX wanting to know how INVION is going to fund their operations over the next few quarters if they continue burning this amount of cash. So let's see how INVION answered Section 8 of the Appendix 4C. Section 8 is one of the most important sections of the Appendix 4C for those companies that burn through a lot of cash quarter on quarter. So I don't really focus on this section all that much because most of the companies I do look at are operational cash flow positive. And if you are operational cash flow positive, you don't have to care about Section 8. It's only for those companies that burn through a lot of cash and don't have enough cash on hand to fund operations during the next 2 quarters. And because this happened to Invion in the March quarter, they burned through $201,000 of cash, and they only had $320,000 of cash on hand at the end of the March quarter. That meant, based off their burn rate in the March quarter, they had less than 2 quarters of funding available for operations. That's how they work it out. If you have to answer 2 of the questions in Section 8, the first question is, does the entity expect that it will continue to have the current level of net operating cash flows for the time being? And if not, why not? Invion answered that it's all about the timing of cash they receive from Cho Group, and that's all they really answered. And they expect that, they won't have any issues with cash on hand during the June quarter. So let's go to the June quarter and see if it wasn't an issue. And Invion was absolutely right. It was not an issue for the June quarter. In fact, receipts from customers was up to $1.1 million, and they were operational cash flow positive by $717,000, which meant instead of being, having trouble maintaining funding for operations, they finished the June quarter with $1 billion of cash on hand. So no worries at all. And in June quarter, Appendix 4 say they did not have to answer Section 8 at all because our operational cash flow positive. One thing I like to do with companies that do issue Appendix 4Cs is to see if there's any noticeable uptrend in their cash receipts. Now for Invion, it's a bit unfair here because they are not selling a product and that product is not gaining traction throughout the world. That's my ideal model to invest into a company. That's what I'd like to see anyway. For Invion, it's a little bit different because the money they're receiving is from that Cho Group, and it's all to fund their development of their Photosoft technology. So you can't take that into account here, but at least they are getting money to fund their research and development in the future. Invion has been listed on the ASX since early 2011, and I went back looking at the weekly chart or the monthly chart, and nothing really has happened with this company over that period. So in this chart, I'm just focusing on the daily chart since late 2019. And there have been occasions during this almost 2-year period where the market does get a little bit excited about Invion, but that excitement wanes fairly quickly. The first bit of excitement happened on the 27th of November 2019 when the Photosoft technology shrinks ovarian cancer in vivo, and the share price shot up 113% on that day and then fell off quite quickly. In fact, by the peak of the COVID-19 financial panic, the share price went all the way down to 0.6 cents and then really did nothing for the next year and a half until the share price rose 82% on the 28th of May 2021 for no noticeable reason. There were no announcements on that day, no news flow. It just went up for some reason. Who knows? Maybe someone got excited about this company, divided, put all their money, and then we've just seen the share price drift down from then. So at this point in time, nothing to get excited with Invion's share price or the chart. 5.5 billion shares on issue, and looks like there might even be more shares on issue because they do have to provide Cho Group with something like 300 million shares for some funding as well. So best thing Invion can do, in my opinion, is to do a share consolidation at some point to decrease the amount of shares on issue, because when you have a large amount of shares on issue with the share price being so low, you can get a lot of pip traders coming in and try to trade the small increment increases in the share price. I have to cover 102 companies to complete my mission, and so watch out for lots of videos over the next few months. The next 4 videos I'll be doing are on Swift Media, Big Tin Can, Gascoigne Resources, and SKS Technologies. So look out for those videos, particularly on those more popular companies like Big Tin Can. Even Gascoigne Resources is a little bit popular out there. I've had a few questions on that company. The other 2 companies, particularly SKS Technologies, I know nothing about. So I look forward to do a video on that company. That is all I have for this video on INVION and their Appendix 4C for the June quarter. If you have any questions about this company, or you can provide more information about INVION, maybe you think this is one of the best potential companies on the ASX, I'd love to hear your opinion on this company. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it. Have a good day. Bye.